friends, and welcome to our Changing Views. I was sat here this morning doing my laundry, like you do, on a Sunday, and that got me thinking on our next vlog. And our next vlog is going to be on storage. So, we've talked about clothes. Let me explain my two trendy Tupperware containers here. One box is Paul's clothes and one box is my clothes, because that's all the room I have in a tiny home at the moment. In a house you might have lots of wardrobe space, drawer space, under the bed space to put winter clothes and organised coats and everything like that. Well, it's not always possible on a narrowboat because you have very limited space and you have to organise everything where it goes. So let me give you a few examples of some storage issues that you may relate to. So let's talk to you for a few minutes about boxes. You can see some boxes behind me, standard storage boxes you're familiar with in your house, your garage, overflow things that you don't want to get rid of but you can't keep them in your house. On a narrowboat you've got even more restricted space. You're aware, a 57-foot narrowboat. You're going to be able to carry about 6 to 9 boxes approximately, with extra stuff in. I'm going to give you an example now of a few things I've got here just to give you an idea. First up, bathroom. Well, you've got towels, you've got men's stuff, you've got ladies' stuff, and you've got limited space on the narrowboat. You're just going to work it out what you want to use all the time and common sense things like that. DVDs and books. Well, there's probably about 100 DVDs in that box behind me. You're not going to have space for all that on a narrowboat. Paul's going to talk to you on another video about that type of thing for storage. And books, another thing. I love holding a book like my sister-in-law, but you couldn't carry that many books. That's another vlog. Shoes. Well, we're all obsessed with shoes. And again, in a house you can have winter, summer, anything, but on a boat you've got to be practical and use things just what you're going to use and keep all the time. Wellingtons and different things like that, all the time. Next one, kitchen. So gadgets. We watched The Crazy Russian Hacker. You would need a narrowboat just to carry all the gadgets that he finds. In a house you could probably carry quite a few of them, but on a narrowboat you've got to keep realistic and just keep out the things you're actually going to use and have everything in a space. In a tiny home you have to have everything in a space. Hobbies. Well, Paul and I have many hobbies. That will be another vlog another time, but we have lots and lots of hobbies. Winter clothes. Well, in a house you can have many different clothes and body warmers and different types of things. On a narrowboat you've got to keep it always practical and just keep out the things and have things you're going to wear and use all the time. And you've got to remember that you've got limited storage space always on a narrowboat. Collectibles. Well, the box behind me, when we go somewhere we tend to pick up Mousel, we pick up something that with Mousel, but on a narrowboat you got limited space on where you can display things, so the box probably behind me is probably in the maximum space that you can use. You just have to keep it realistic, and have I got place to put it and different things like that. So it is all possible on a narrowboat. You just have to be practical, you have to be realistic, you have to think every day instead of, you just have to be a bit more practical about what you do, etc.
So welcome back. That was a great intro by Kelly, giving you some of the very obvious problems you're going to have on a narrowboat. But let me start my section with a quiz. These boxes behind me are standard moving boxes that people use for moving or storage. They are a medium box. There's one that's slightly bigger, large, doesn't matter which one. Take one of those boxes into mind. You want to live on a narrowboat, you want to live in a tiny home, your storage is going to be limited to 6 to 9 of these boxes. That's 6 to 9. I mean, for example, on a 57-foot narrowboat, if you think of the layout, if you start at the front and you live in your living room, you might have 2 or 3 shelves and maybe a small cupboard. Your bathroom, a small utility cupboard. Your bedroom, you may or may not have a wardrobe, you may or may not have chests of drawers, and you may or may not have storage under the bed. But all told, somewhere around the inside of that narrowboat, 6 to 9 of these storage boxes. Now, think about that. Here's a quiz for you. Take one of these boxes. What would you put in that box? You've only got 6 to 9 of them. That's for your whole house. Now, you may have some relatives or some friends who will store some goods for you, but then again, you may not. You may be selling up to move into a narrowboat. If you're like us, you're selling up to move into a narrowboat. Everything's got to fit in a narrowboat. You can put stuff in these boxes and put it into storage, but that's the kiss of death. We know that from moving to America. We put stuff into storage 10 years ago. It's still there now. $1,000 a year, 10 years, work that out. We don't even know what's in them boxes anymore. Don't even go down that route. If you don't fit, you got to get rid of it. We're talking downsizing here. I'm going to run through some bits that we've got that we think are going to be a problem on our narrowboat, and some solutions, and just give you some more food for thought. So let's go into that, but don't forget, you only got 6 to 9 of these boxes. What are you going to put into it? So most narrowboats, you won't have a lot of shelves. I've never seen a lot of shelves on narrowboats. I mean, it's a practical thing as well, because narrowboats rock, things fall off shelves, so you tend to have display cabinets and not shelves. Kelly was talking about collectibles. We have some collectibles here. I have a little narrowboat for my brother Merlin. A little model I made way back, which represents our life really. And just some standard things. But if you think of these 2 shelves, that might be all you have in your narrowboat. 2 shelves! I mean, what would you put on those 2 shelves? We have a bit of a thing for manatees here, and we've collected some manatee ornaments. But wherever we go, we've always bought 1 thing, 2 things. When you're looking at just having 2 shelves for your whole home to collect things on, you have to think twice whether you want that ornament or not, whether you want that souvenir or not. Because sometimes, if you're going to buy something, when one comes in, one goes out. There's no extra space. It's a replacement. Dead man's shoes, as they call it. So that's your first problem. You've only got limited shelves. Let's look at some of the bigger items. So we've looked at shelves, we've looked at what you can and cannot store, but some things you've got to find a solution for. If you're going to be living on a narrowboat, you've got your normal clothes. Kelly's covered that already. Shoes, I think, are the biggest problem, because you need a range of shoes. By shoes you're going to go out in, shoes you're going to be sailing your narrowboat in, shoes you might be walking in if you like walking in the countryside, to shoes you're going to be using when the narrowboats, when the canals are all muddy and icy. You might need winter shoes as well. So I mean, there's 5 sets of shoes for me and 5 sets for Kelly. You're at least up to 10 pairs of shoes there. But when you're talking storage, I think probably the biggest area is your own storage of your personal products, because unless you're going to go for a total different lifestyle, you're transitioning from one lifestyle to the other, from a big home to a very, very simplistic outlook. We watched the Mindful Narrowboat. If you've not watched the Mindful Narrowboat, please do. She puts a totally wonderful different twist on the whole narrowboat experience. She has a dog, which we want, and at the same time she does artwork, but she has a very simple setup for that, and that's wonderful. Now I say that because Anna Marie and Kath on the narrowboat experience, they also did artwork, but they did it as a business as well, so that took up a lot of room on the narrowboat. Now if you're going to vlog, you've got the obvious things like cameras, bags, lighting, microphones, editing equipment, but also how about just things like iPads? I mean, if you're both going to have an iPad, not a lot of things, but computer systems for editing. I've tried to learn a bit of music over the years, and I first bought a banjo. This is my banjo. It was bought for when my father died with some money he left me, just as a remembrance for him. So this banjo can't go anywhere. This banjo's got to be with me. But I mean, look at the size of it. We're going to put that in a narrowboat. It's haunting me. I mean, we're going to have to find room for it. But then again, I've got my favourite ukulele. Ukuleles. Let's talk ukuleles. I got 6 of these. Talk about obsession. And we've got plenty of obsessions in this house, but I got 6 of these. So I'm going to have to choose one, and this will probably be the one. So we've got a banjo, we've got a ukulele, we've also got just over there in the frame, I think you can see, a guitar, and we've got a keyboard, a MIDI keyboard that plugs into this computer, that we're hoping to do a bit of music for the vlogs. I absolutely love Floor Job and Stiff Ripples. That's Stiff Ripples by the Narrowboat Pirate. Kelly's laughing just out of shot over there because we find the Narrowboat Pirate one of the best to watch. She is so herself and she makes no apologies for it. Hi Captain, hope you're watching this one. And if you don't follow the Narrowboat Pirate, look at my links down below. They're all there. But DVDs and books. Let's just talk quickly about DVDs and books. We've all got DVDs. I've got a big collection of DVDs, and this is only a small selection of it. I mean, what have we got here? About half a dozen. It's not a lot, but look at the amount of room it's taken up already, and that's only that. Now, I'm going to ask Kelly to reach me something. The little 3-way thing plugged into the front of the computer. Little 3-way thing with the 2 things stuck into it. She hasn't got a clue what I'm talking about, but hopefully she will have. Thank you, darling. Now, would you believe that these DVDs are on here? It's called a ripper, and if you're ripping DVDs to distribute them, that's against the law. You're going to be in copyright law. But if you've still got the DVDs and you want to put them on something else, that's fine. So you can rip all these down to this. We've got TV, one for TV and one for films. This plugs into the back of our TV, so we can have all these on here. Now, okay, we've got to keep them, so I'm going to probably ask my sister or my brother-in-law to store them for me. That way we're within the law because we've still got the original copies. We've just made a backup. That's one way around some of the storage issues. Kelly, my sister-in-law and Kelly have this thing for natural books. They like the smell of them. I don't know why she's always sniffing them. I think my sister sits at home sniffing books. But yeah, I mean, look at books. I mean, some books are small, some books are big. I mean, this book's heavy, for goodness sakes. Sorry, my ukulele decided it wants to join in. That book's heavy on its own. Now, narrowboat's a heavy thing, and you don't really have to balance it like a caravan or a motorhome, but you still have to think size. Volume is more than weight on a narrowboat. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books there. If I say to you that Kelly's got possibly 200-300 books, I'm not exaggerating. What I'm trying to get her to do is use our Kindle. We've got the Apple books on the Apple, and we've got the Kindle. I mean, this book, this little Kindle has got equivalent to, I think at the moment it's got about 150 books on it. That's where you've got to think for a narrowboat. You've got to think of the smaller alternative. Yeah, you can have different alternatives, but even Kelly does colouring, so there's a colouring book. We've got 1, 2, 3 of them on there. She's probably got about 100 of them. There's another storage issue. Pencils. I don't know what Kelly does with all these pencils. I begin to think she eats them or does something with them. I mean, it's just, how many pencils do you need? We've got hundreds of them.
Hey guys, I just came back for a moment. Forgot to mention earlier, the fabulous gang beside me is just a small selection of my obsession for collecting tennis. They have to go on the narrowboat. Believe me, this isn't my only collection of tennis. You ain't seen nothing yet. So these guys have to come.
Books, games. We like to sit at night and play a game. Rummy Tub as we call it. We got a backgammon set there, chess set, Monopoly Go. They're all storage, and you have got limited storage on this boat. So you're going to have to ask yourself, can I live small? Can I live simply? Can I downscale? If you can't downscale, you've probably got a bit of an issue, because this is only a small fraction of what we've got. Here is some things we've pulled together just to give for a demonstration for this video. This is probably probably half of this subject here, and it's probably 1/10 of what we need to put on a narrowboat. We will not have anyone to store stuff for us other than my sister that's got limited space. She'll probably take my DVD collection for me, but other than that, there's no one else to store things. So it's either going to be going to the narrowboat or going to the charity shop. Can you make that decision? Will that lifestyle work for you? If not, maybe you need to rethink it, guys. This is our range of videos, vlogs on just the thought pan on living on a narrowboat. We want to bring up the questions that you should be asking yourself. This is, I think, the second one in the line. So we're just trying to give you some food for thought, be the devil's advocate, give you some thoughts, and help you make up your mind. Is this the lifestyle for you? Living on a narrowboat is great, but you have to live simply. When we lived in a RV, caravan, tourable, I don't know what you call them now in America. I always get confused. I think Airstream caravans. I think called camping trailers. When we lived in a caravan, we had a friend, my brother Merlin, and his philosophy was, if you're going to put something in that caravan, it has to do at least 2 jobs. If you pick something up and it only does 1 job, you ain't got room for it. If you want to make sandwiches in your narrowboat and you're going to buy a sandwich maker for it, does 1 job, no good. If you're going to buy a coffee maker that just makes coffee, I need my coffee, you need a coffee maker, but it only does that 1 job. Now think about that. Kitchen space, sandwich maker, waffle maker, coffee maker, air fryer, dicer, mixer, blender if you want your smoothie maker, for a juice blender. You might have all these things in your house. You've got to get 1 or 2 things that do all them jobs. You really have to, because you don't have the room for all these different things. So if it doesn't do 2 things, it ain't getting on the boat. Think about that. Think about this. Can you crunch all this down to 6 of these boxes? Can you put your whole house in 6 boxes? If not, this ain't the life for you guys. Hope you found this informative. I know it's a little bit slow at the moment. Next week we're going back into our we're going to start our scale model next week. That's going to be fun. So this is goodbye from me. It's goodbye from Kelly, and we'll speak to you again. Bye guys.